Well, it's a new year and it's only fitting that I'm going to be testing out some new gear. So in this video, I'm going to share with all of you some of the gear that I'm going to be using out on the trail for 2025. Matt here with Reach Your Summit. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that everyone's new year has been off to a great start and that you've been enjoying a lot of time out on the trails. I know I have, and I'm really excited for a lot of the trips and long hikes that I have planned for this year. This is some of the gear that I'm going to be using, so I just wanted to share a little bit of that with all of you. Some of this gear that I'm going to be going over are going to be items that are more dedicated toward winter, which I'm in right now here in the Northeast, but also as things transition into the shoulder season, in between seasons. Some of these other items I'm going to be using a lot more throughout most of this year. So let's get right into it. This first item I'm really excited for, mostly because I made it. I made it to the specs that I wanted. I added the features that I wanted with my very own pack. This was a pack that I built from start to finish. My partner, she had bought a pattern from Palante Packs for me as a present, and I got right to it. Cut the pattern out, cut all the fabric, measured everything out, pieced everything together. I sewed it all together. I had just bought a Juki sewing machine because I'm getting a little bit more into making my own gear. And so I'm really excited with how this came out because this is my first big project that I made. This is based off of the Palante Simple pack, and I kept it very minimal and simple, but still having some small features that I personally would want with the pack. The internal capacity is 35 liters, and with all the additional pockets, it brings it to around 45 liters. I find that that's the sweet spot for a lot of long hikes. This pack will be able to suit that. It's built for my torso, which is in between 18 and 19 inches, so it fits beautifully, nice and comfortable. And I'm going to be using this between spring through fall this year, and then I'm also looking to hopefully use this in milder conditions during the winter. So this is made out of a 100 denier Robic ripstop nylon for the main body of the pack, with a big stretchy lycra mesh front outer pocket and some stretchy lycra mesh shoulder pockets. And I went with a Spandura mesh for a bottom stash pocket, rolled it over a couple of times to help keep things from falling out easily. And then I have a little trash port in the back here for wrappers and things while I'm hiking throughout the day. Elastic and Robic nylon bottle pockets on each side. This accommodates 2 1-liter bottles on each side. And I have a compression strap on the right hand side. This is usually where I carry my trekking pole, so I wanted to have an additional point on this side to keep that locked in when I'm hiking and not using it. A couple of little tool loops down at the bottom here and a loop up at the top, so I can thread some cordage through there to hang things from if I needed. Simple buckle and roll top closure with some buckles up top, and then I reinforced all of the seams with some robin's egg blue bias tape. This is going to give the pack increased durability where the seams are, and also allows for easier repairs. And then I have a hull loop to lift the pack up. Total weight is 12 ounces empty, so this is also a little bit lighter in weight than a lot of my other packs. With my Juki machine, I wanted to get really comfortable with the machine, learn about it, learn about how the machine handled the different fabrics before I really got involved in projects. So one of my first projects that I did was just a simple beanie. This is made out of Polartec Power Grid, so a good amount of breathability. It dries very fast, provides a lot of warmth, and I had been making a couple of these with the Polartec Power Grid in different colors. I also made some out of Polartec Power Wool. Been really getting into MYOG lately, and looking forward to putting together a lot more projects with ideas I have and just seeing where that goes and how well it performs out on the trail. Another item that I'm really excited to be using mostly in the winter time are these. This is the Ultra Lone Peak 9 Mid waterproof. Those of you who have seen me out on the trail, who follow my channel, you all know that I'm a big fan of Ultra footwear. Been wearing them for several years now, and the Lone Peak continues to be one of my favorite shoes, one of my go-tos in many cases. And during the winter time, over the years, one of my favorite Lone Peaks for the winter was the Ultra Lone Peak 4 Mid RSM. I wore that shoe throughout its life until I needed to retire it. A couple of winters ago, I purchased the Olympus 5 Mid Gore-Tex, and then I purchased the Timp 5 Gore-Tex. I have been using that on some winter trips throughout this winter season so far, and it's been great. I still want to have a little bit more ground feel on occasion. So when I saw the Lone Peak 9 was released in a waterproof mid-height version, I was really intrigued and had to try it out. I've been using the Lone Peak 9 non-waterproof since it was released, and really happy with that shoe. I kind of get feelings of that Lone Peak 4 Mid RSM that I really enjoyed over the winters when I put this shoe on. Yet it has some of the nice updates that the non-waterproof Lone Peak 9 has, such as the updated Max Track. The overall fit is fantastic. The outer nylon kind of reminds me of what the current Timp 5 mid-height has. Tongue is nicely padded. There's also additional loop throughout the tongue to really keep the tongue in place. What I'm really intrigued about with this shoe is the new waterproof membrane that's being used. The Lone Peak 4 Mid RSM had used E-Vent, which I really enjoyed, but this one's using a completely new waterproof membrane by a company called Cosmo. It's using their HydroGuard WP membrane, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it performs, how well it holds up in snow and cold rain in the shoulder seasons. So check back to the channel. I'll definitely be putting something up a little bit more on this as I get a lot more mileage in with it. I also recently picked up the Altra Timp 5 BOA, which is similar in almost every way to the regular Timp 5 that I had been wearing, but this has the BOA lacing system instead of traditional laces. I'm really looking forward to putting a lot of mileage on that shoe this year, and also continuing to use the non-waterproof Ultra Lone Peak 9. Going along with the footwear, I also have some new socks that I've been using for the winter. Many of you are also aware that I'm a big fan of toe socks. I've been wearing them exclusively now for a little over 3 years. They just work really well for me. They work great with my Ultra footwear. But on certain occasions in the winter, I would end up going with a thicker, darn tough mountaineering sock, just for that slight increase in warmth. But these came out and I've been testing them out, and I've been really happy with them so far. These are Injinji Snow over the calf socks. They use a technology called Ultralight, which works as you're moving. The fibers and the material help trap heat that's being created. The fibers of the sock are also hollow, so they help with trapping that heat that's created along with the Ultralight. And I find these socks to be very warm. These are fantastic for winter. I bought a couple of pairs just to have in rotation, and I've been really happy with them so far. I've been very comfortable in these, down to single digits so far. And then they have the moisture management and blister prevention that you get with any toe sock. Next up, I have a short sleeve shirt. This is from Old Navy. This is part of their active series. This is the Go Dry Cool short sleeve shirt. I actually bought a couple of these closer to the fall season last year, and I've been really happy with them. These wick really well. They dry very fast. I find them to be very comfortable, and they only cost $10 each. I'm going to be continuing to wear these, not all of the time throughout 2025, but a fair amount. So another piece I have here is Fleece. This is also by Old Navy. This is their waffle grid quarter zip fleece. A little bit on the heavier side compared to other fleeces. This weighs around 10 ounces, but it only cost me $26. Basically the same MicroGrid that the Polartec Power Grid Beanie is here. So it retains a lot of heat, it breathes really well, it dries fast. Quarter zip for good mechanical ventilation. Thumb holes helps with easier layering. Very soft feeling, very comfortable, very similar to one of my go-tos for 2017, 2018. There was a version out that was a quarter zip with a hood, and I wore that thing all the time out on the trail. Just a good all-around performance fleece. Definitely not as light or as fast drying as Polartec Alpha Direct, which I've been using for the last couple of years now. That fabric has been a game changer for me. I'm going to be continuing to use it, but when I saw this in the store, I just had to pick one up for nostalgic reasons. Going to be using this out on the trail for 2025, not all of the time, but super happy to see this fleece is brought back and to have it in my rotation of clothing for backpacking and through hikes. This next piece of gear, I was looking at upgrading my outer shell for the winter time specifically. Some features that I was looking at, something that was form-fitting, not too bulky or baggy. Wanted pit zips for increased mechanical ventilation, and I wanted something that was a little bit more warm toned, a little bit brighter for easier visibility if needed in the winter, and good wind and water protection. So I picked up the Arc'teryx Beta SL. This is a 3-layer jacket compared to the 2-layer Arc'teryx Zeta SL that I had been wearing over the last few winters. This uses Gore-Tex's new waterproof membrane and environmentally friendly DWR, so it doesn't have any of the forever chemicals in it. Has the armpit vents, 2 zippered pockets. There's also a zippered pocket on the inside here. Very comfortable hood, nice and secure. There's some adjustments at the bottom here and also on the back, so you can get it really cinched down tight. And there's also an adjustment at the bottom to really cinch that down. Not the lightest jacket out there. This also weighs around 10 ounces, but I've been really happy with this jacket so far. It's been serving me really well, and I hope to get many seasons and years out of this jacket. This is going to be specifically for winter time, although I might use it on occasion for shoulder season, but the rest of the time, spring through fall, I'll either just use my Enlightened Equipment Visp or a Frog Togs jacket. Another item that I picked up for 2025 is the CNOC Hydriam Soft Flask Bottle Series. This one I went with is 500 milliliters, so it fits really nice in the running vest style pockets of my Palante Joey or my Nashville Packed Cutaway. It'll also fit nicely in the shoulder strap pockets in the pack I made. This is compatible with the Platypus Quick Draw and also the Sawyer water filters. And I picked this up just because I've been really happy with the CNOC Vesica bottle that I used throughout all of last year for the most part. Good durability. It's nice because it can roll up and take up very little space when not using it. Also, I'll have quick and easy access in the front with a smaller bottle. It's not getting in the way of my visibility when I'm hiking. Really looking forward to continuing to use these and the Vesica bottle and seeing how well they continue to hold up. The last item that I picked up for 2025 so far is the Gossamer Gear 3/8 inch torso length sleeping pad. This is a closed cell foam pad, and it's a little bit different than my 1/8 inch pad that I've been using for many nights now out on the trail. This is cut exactly like your torso. So wide enough up here for the shoulders and trim down near the waist. So a good amount of comfort where needed and trimming all of that extra weight if you're looking to cut down weight as much as possible in areas where it might be a little bit more unnecessary. So I am going to be using this spring through fall. It's going to give me that little extra comfort compared to my 1/8 inch pad. So I'll be laying down on this, and then I'll have my legs on top of my pack. It also sits nicely along the inner back of the pack. It's still pretty close in weight to my 1/8 inch pad, even though it's thicker, just because it is trimmed down. This is going to be for very fast and light trips. Super stoked to see this pad re-released. This originally was the Gossamer Gear Nightlight pad, modified a little bit, and I'm excited to have this in my rotation of gear. So there you have it. That's some of the gear that I'm going to be testing out for 2025. I'm really excited to get out on trail, have some new experiences, see new things this year, get out on new trails, and sharing all of that with all of you. Do you have any trips planned for 2025, or have you picked up any new gear yet? Is there any new gear that you're looking at buying in 2025? Share any of that in a comment below with me. I'd love to hear what you're all planning on doing and what you're planning on using for this year. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did and you liked it, hit the like button. Also, consider subscribing to my channel. I'm always adding new content to it. I'll have a follow-up with this gear later on in the year. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you have a fantastic 2025. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And until the next one, see you out there.